Okay, so we have some interesting conversation going around the fellowship corner of the internet, the art circle of the internet, for those of you who don't know. And it's a article from Geeks and Gamers, and it's written by good friend Jessica Lindstrom. So let's get into it. Nerdrotic and why they hate Lord of the Rings. The scouring of Tolkien. Gary, also known as Nerdrotic, published a video about the recent desecration of John Ronald Rule. I probably mispronounced his name. Tolkien's works in academia, deeming it problematic and prejudiced against dark-skinned people. But how, one may ask, could these people now despise a man who paved the way for modern fantasy and was an overall champion of keeping the countryside untouched by man, hating the Industrial Revolution? Well, those pesky morals and devout Catholic leanings that academia hates the most. Yeah. And of course, we see Nerdrotic did make a video on this, and I watched it. Very educational, very informative, and he's completely right. There's a lot of hypocrisy coming from the people who are they're coming from the people who who will vilify Tolkien, and like they'll simultaneously say that, like, I saw multiple articles saying that Tolkien is racist, Tolkien is evil, Tolkien is a horrible human being. He's a nasty, evil person, while simultaneously also saying that Tolkien would love what Amazon's doing to his work. And I'm just like, wait, if he's evil and racist, why would he love the diversity being added to his his media? Of course, who's surprised that they're inconsistent with their values? But overall, I do recommend watching Gary's video. It's very informative, very educational, and he breaks it down perfectly. He breaks it down perfectly, and it shows that all these people who support this crap are just tourists. They're not real big fans. They don't know the lore. And like, okay, I'll admit I'm not the most knowledgeable and well versed on Lord of the Rings and lore and Middle Earth lore. But I grew up watching Lord of the Rings, and then The Hobbit came out when I was in my early teens, and so and then I played Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. I've played the Lord of the Rings PS2 game. I've read Hobbit recently, which is a very good book, by the way. Very good book. It's a very good book, and I quite enjoyed it. I have yet to actually sit down and read um the Lord of the Rings books. I really want to. I've been busy reading. I've been reading Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which is a great book. It's one of the best stories I've ever read. But overall, I've got a few books to read. I've got Frankenstein. I've got to catch up on Jack Carr's novels. I've got a lot of books to catch up on, and I'm going to be checking out and finally reading and delving into more of Tolkien lore, which and novels, and because I love Lord of the Rings. The movies are great. However, going back to this, I am baffled by the inconsistencies in lunacy of the the people who just are hating on Tolkien. Like they're making all these accusations and all this nonsense, and yet none of their evidence, well, they have no evidence, and none of their claims are based on any actual evidence. It's just things that they assume, um, and just a bunch of nonsense. Like for example, they claim that the term the Dark Lord is a racist term because referring to something as dark is apparently racist nowadays. So if you like apparently dark jokes are inherently racist because it has dark in it, guys. Or darkness is inherently racist because it has the term dark. People like these, like this professor in this that Gary talks about. I don't remember his name, nor do I care about remembering his name. He claims that the term, the name, the Dark Lord that Sauron has is a racist term because it's the Dark Lord. Why call him Dark Lord if it's not racism? Well, I'm like, but I hate to break it to you, but Sauron is a white elf, by the way, a very, very fair-skinned elf. And yes, he does shift forms, but his most known form is his elvish form. And of course, you see the armor and all that. You see that form. However, that's his most known form, as far as I am aware. So I'm like calling him the Dark Lord and implying that that's racist is kind of inconsistent and not logical. Anyway, we'll get right back into reading. However, the attacks on Tolkien did not start recently. Many attacked him while he was alive, though none so egregiously as what Amazon did to the late professor's work with the Rings of Power. If you don't know why I'm laughing, you should probably join the GCA Discord and figure out why. Um, which spat right in the face of everything Tolkien created. I can hear the venom in that last part of that sentence. Uh, yeah, I can hear the hate. I can hear the disgust in it. Yeah. So again, if you want to know the inside joke, you got to join the GCA Discord, which I will be linking in the description because of this video. However, yeah, okay, I read that. As stated in the course now taught at the University of Nottingham, how Tolkien used the orcs and other evil henchmen of Sauron was an allegory for black and brown people, while the fairer skinned characters were always depicted as virtuous, which is bullshit. Which is just bullshit. The fairer skinned people were always depicted as virtuous. Apparently, someone never read Lord of the Rings, never read The Hobbit. Yeah, don't apparently doesn't know Sauron is a brother. All right. It's clear these people have never picked up any of Tolkien's works. Yep. Or if or if they have, barely skimmed the text and believe they understood it. Never once did Tolkien depict one race as superior in the sense that Dr. Onyeka Nubia. Onyeka, I'm horribly mispronouncing that, but I don't really care. Dude is just an asshole. The UK professor claiming Tolkien was racist claims these people, these sorts of people, do not see the complexity of humans, how morally gray some of mankind's actions are, because they live in a delusion that utopias are real. And again, utopias are not real. They are not possible because humans are inherently flawed. But that's a conversation for another day, and a deeply religiously themed conversation. So there's more, of course. Gosh, this makes me want to watch Lord of the Rings again and actually read the books more. Never once did Tolkien create uh, any races of Middle Earth better than the rest. Yes, there are evil creatures like the orcs, created by Morgoth or slash Melkor. I'm probably mispronouncing that. To mock the beauty and intelligence of the elves, described as literal demons in the text. The dwarves, while fair, yet ruddy in skin tone, are not necessarily evil, but greedy. There are also the dwarves of Belegost, who committed the terrible murder of Thingol. To the latter, refusing them the Nauglamir necklace, which they crafted with a Silmaril as payment. Okay, again, I don't know much like the extensive amounts of the lore from Tolkien, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's stuff that needs to be overdone. Then there's Fëanor, who ordered the burning of the ships, which resulted in the first kinslaying amongst the elves. Oh yeah, I heard about that. With the elves, there was elves who like slaughtered each other and all that. Even Feanor's sons committed their kinslaying. The men of the West were also followed, particularly when the Numenorians committed human sacrifices to Morgoth, or the Black Numenorians. Yes, and I do remember in the video of Nerdrotic, the Black Numenorians does not refer to skin color. They were just very cruel and very oppressive, very vile. Like they were all fair skinned, all white. They were all fair skinned, and but they were still evil. But as Jess writes, no, the name does not refer to the color of the to skin color, but to what cruel and oppressive rulers they had been to the people of a place called Umbar. And it seems these academic sorts have forgotten the nine ring wraiths, or the Nazgul, who had once been kings, and three of the nine are said to be of the Black Numenorians. But this only scratches the surface of the vast lore created by Tolkien over decades. To place an even higher emphasis on this topic, the often cited Letter 210, a response from Tolkien to Forrest J. Ackerman, expressing how poorly the orcs were depicted in a script sent to the professor um, from Morton Grady Zimmerman in June of 1958. Why does Z put beaks and feathers on orcs? Orcs is not a form of ox or ox. I don't know how to pronounce that. The orcs are definitely stated to be the corruptions of the human form seen in elves and men. They are or were squat, broad, flat-nosed, sallow-skinned, with wide mouths and slant eyes. In fact, degraded and repulsive versions of the, to the Europeans, least lovely Mongol types. And it says J.R. Tolkien, 210 from a letter, and it's the letter. It's citing from the letter. If any race should be insulted, as Gary states in his video, it should be the Mongolians, or more accurately, the ancestors of Genghis Khan, which is less than 0.5% of the male population of the entire planet. So it's safe to say such a comment made 67 years ago will be thrown around as racist and an example of why Tolkien's works are a problem. Then there's the Tolkien Society, an educational and literary society that claims to be devoted to promoting the life works of J.R.R. Tolkien. On their very own YouTube channel, they have a half hour seminars on how there are themes of queerness and trans people in the late professor's works. They have half-hour seminars on how there are themes of queerness and trans people in the late professor's works. How these people take all this time to come up with utter nonsense that never existed in Tolkien's legendarium is beyond human comprehension. Well, sane human comprehension. Hit the nail on the head there, you did, Jess. They go so far as to say that Saruman the White, who in later books reveals himself to be Saruman of many colors, is a queer allegory in the text. Which, yes, I remember Gary did mention that in the video, and I just rolled my eyes. Because now, apparently, any time a rainbow or multiple colors is mentioned in any story, that means it's an allegory for gayness or queerness. And I'm like, that's not how that works. You don't get to take modern definitions and modern meanings and then slap them onto things that existed way before these modern definitions, way before these new meanings and all that. You don't get to do that and say, well, that's proof. That's not how you understand history. That's not how you understand anything. However, in February of 2023, The Spectator reported that a unit within the UK's Home Office Counter Extremism Initiative drew up a list of problematic books that could prompt or indicate the support of far right, with Tolkien, Orwell, Orwell, and even C.S. Lewis being listed as authors to avoid. In other words, academia, a once renowned place of free thought and expression, has turned into a cesspool of activists seeking to rewrite history, along with distorting the works of someone who led the best life he could despite the hardships of war he suffered for 4 years. And Jess hits a nail on the head. This is a great article, and it's very, very informative. I recommend reading it. I'm going to even drop this in the description for those who want to give this a read themselves. And like, there's already a link to Nerdrotic's video. I recommend watching that because it's very informative. I'm trying not to get too political, but a subject like this is kind of entertainment, pop culture, and politics are kind of mixed together. It's just hard to separate the two in subjects like this. But the issue is like every major story now is considered problematic in some way, or if not problematic, it means it must secretly represent a protected class. And it's ridiculous. It's stupid. And it's just, how self absorbed do you have to be as a human being to have to make everything about you? And people say, well, they don't make everything about them. I'm like, they try to imply that there is, well, Halo has LGBT crap. Minecraft, Call of Duty, Fortnite. They're advocating for Battlefield to have it. Um, so many role-playing games nowadays. Bethesda, the new Dragon Age, uh, Outer Worlds 2, and Avowed. And I can go on and on and on about fucking games. Going to entertainment companies, um, Ubisoft, um, the entirety of Hollywood. The entirety of Hollywood is built around pandering to this. 90% of all mainstream media outlets pander. Multiple first world nation governments pander to this, to these ideologies, to these groups of people. And they say they're marginalized, that they're victims. I'm like, you are the most protected class in the world. You're not a victim. Stop acting like it. You have laws on the books to protect you more than most other groups on the fucking planet. And you have even car companies, Porsche and Jaguar, pander. And when companies like American Eagle had a Sydney Sweeney on, you guys had a nuclear meltdown and said it was rhetoric and propaganda, all because she had happened to be blonde hair and had blue eyes. Again, none of you guys complained when Beyonce did the same shit. I find it so baffling and hypocritical. And I know harking and hammering down on the left's hypocrisy won't do a thing because they don't care about hypocrisy. They don't care if they don't adhere to their own values. They don't care if they adhere to their own standards. They just want to win. That's all they care about, winning and taking control. I'm reminded every day why I'm no longer a leftist. And it's because every day they go further and further left. And I'm just like, you have to be so stuck in your own little world that you cannot comprehend anything outside of it. And you call anything that disagrees with your worldview evil. abhorrent or some sort of nasty thing. Like I have lost count the amount of times I've been called a, something that ends with ist or phobes. And I laugh because I'm like, well, you're just diluting the meaning of those words. You're just killing the meaning of those words. So when people use those in the future, it will mean nothing because you are so self absorbed with your own ideology that you can't get your head out of your fucking ass and think for one damn second for yourself. I've never once seen a single mainstream leftist actually openly criticize the Democrat Party, other than one exception. And I think that's Stephen, either Stephen Smith or Miller, the sports commentator. I mean no disrespect to him. I think he's a respectable guy and all that. But yeah, again, he is very much so uh, right about being angry. And I'm just like, dude, it's ridiculous, absurd, and like it's annoying. It's nauseating. Again, these people, the Tolkien is not far right. If anything, he's his work is moderate right. But now anything leftist of Joseph Stalin or Mao Zedong, Mao Zedong are now considered far far fucking right. In fact, I'm beginning to think that according to the leftist current political ideology, Mao Zedong is moderate. They've been at Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's work for decades. They've been after it for so long, trying to vilify it, destroy it, and even rewrite it. I mean, they've done that with James Bond. They're gonna massacre C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia series. It's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be. And Marvel and DC are already ruined and all that because they are so busy pandering that they don't stop and think for one freaking second. That's all it takes. And it's just insane. It's ridiculous. It's asinine. And now we have another IP that's being destroyed, Doctor Who. It's Disney doesn't want, even if Disney doesn't want to support it, then you know it's bad. And it's just like these people keep moving left, and then they're like, well, why is the right getting more radical? I'm like, that's like driving a car at 120 miles an hour and asking why everything looks like it's flying by you. It's like, well, maybe it's because you're driving so fucking fast. They just want to destroy history. They want to rewrite history, if not destroy it. They want to destroy anything that they disagree with because that's what their goal is. And it's just insane. Lord of the Rings is one of the best literary works of the 20th century. Hell, I'd say 20th and 21st century. I don't think there's much modern writing that tops or even surpasses C.S. Lewis's work, Tolkien's work. I'll even go back even further and say Mary Shelley's work, Bram Stoker's Dracula. That no, nothing surpasses that shit. Um, and I can go on and on about stories. Orwell's story, um, or Orwell's work, freaking 1984, Animal Farm, stuff like that. We don't have people actually advocating for and making actual literary masterpieces because they're so busy having their heads stuck so far up their ass that they're becoming a Mobius strip at this point, folding in on itself, and just insane. Tolkien's work is based as shit. Some of the best literary work out there. I recommend if you haven't watched any of the movies or read any of the books, watch them. Don't watch Rings of Power. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below because I would actually love to hear what you guys think about this. I would love to hear if you guys have any thoughts or questions or anything about this topic. I would love to hear it because I think it's interesting. And like I said earlier, like watch Nerdrotic's video and even read this article yourself. I think it's very enlightening and very educational. I think Jess did a phenomenal job writing this article, and I think Nerdrotic. I think Gary did an amazing job breaking down the whole thing, whole situation on his video. I'm gonna link that in the description as well, and even in the pinned comment because I think it's worth understanding. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about this whole topic in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and share on your preferred social media platform. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, and God bless.